I'm calling to order tonight's meeting of the Southborough Youth Commission on December 9th at 7:02 p.m. Um, so let's review and approve the meeting minutes from last meeting.
I just had one correction on line 75.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
It just said I past few years instead of in the past few years. Makes no difference to the meaning, but
Oh,
line 75.
okay.
That's all I saw.
Thank you. I'm glad
Yeah.
you are reviewing them like a hawk because I can't look at them after I'm done.
Oh no, I'm sure.
Well, I want to say, Sarah, that was really impressive.
Oh, I take
Yes.
good notes.
You took really good notes.
That's one thing I
That
can
was
do.
that whole presentation outline.
It's what I do for my ADHD. I just stay and take notes.
Did anyone else have a comment or a correction? Would someone like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Melissa Shields,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Sarah Mikas,
Aye.
Karen Anglem,
Hi.
Nancy Sutton, aye. So then, Sarah, we can move on to the director's report.
All right. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you.
Hello.
All right, so we have a slightly longer director's report. And it's a busy time of year here at our office, but for illness reasons and otherwise, we've had some stuff going through the office, unfortunately, but 'tis the season, right? And with the holidays also, I feel like the number of days we have to do work and offer programming is less than in our other months. But that said, what we've been focused on. So the community needs assessment, as you all are aware, has been an area of focus. Thank you for attending the last Youth Commission meeting to hear from Trendline and to contribute to the conversation. Since then, I did have an opportunity to meet with our select board with Trendline to give a high level overview. I believe at least one or two of you may have been in attendance at that meeting. It was a virtual meeting. So we gave a high level overview of the sort of big picture points, talked about some of the other local conditions that are contributing to the challenges we face in doing human services work, and asked the select board to consider some next steps. And so there'll be some follow-up. It was sort of the first of hopefully many other conversations, but we were encouraging them to think about ways that with little to no spending, ways that we could streamline things within the resources, staffing, et cetera, that we already have, and how to address some of the siloed work that kept coming up in the needs assessment by sort of creating task forces or coalitions, as we know that addressing complex issues such as housing, things of that nature are really hard to do without collaboration and many hands on deck. So I've already had a follow-up conversation with the chair of the select board about thoughts on what could happen next and some resources for the town to consider. And so we will see where it goes from there. And I'm sure I'll have some updates to share with you at some point. We've been working on updating our financial assistance application and trying to once again include other town-sponsored benefits. So I had a nice conversation with the chairperson of the trust fund committee, Mr. Sam Stivers, and Brian Ballantyne, our town treasurer, to talk about whether the trust funds could be included in the financial assistance application instead of having them as two separate processes. And so that conversation went well, and we have some follow-up that needs to happen. Kathy Cook from Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission was also present for that meeting, as Friends holds the funds for the emergency fund. So we just kind of talk logistically about how we might be able to streamline that process and make things as easy as possible for residents experiencing financial hardship to access support without having to go to multiple departments and fill out multiple applications. We've been partnering with the Southborough Police Department. They have a really cool program that they participate in that they've been doing for the last couple of years, along with several other police departments, called Shop with a Cop. And so thankfully, we have a mechanism to sort of identify families that might benefit from participating in that program, and have been assisting them with letting families know about the opportunity and see who might be interested. Winter Wishes has also been a central focus in the office. I'm eternally grateful to both Janet Bartling, our business administrator, and to Friends members for their help with that program, as it's a big undertaking, but it was pretty smooth this year. And we were able to start distributing gift cards to families on Friday of this week. We did have to reschedule a few of them. I think there's probably maybe 3 to 5 more families that are scheduled to come by. But for the most part, we've been able to get the gift cards out to most families. Things that are coming up: we're gearing up for the annual report that will be due in the beginning of January that gives information about all of the achievements we've had for the year and some statistics on who we've served and in what capacity. I'm excited to be partnering with the library. The library is actually going to be closing down for a couple of hours to be able to offer QPR, which is a suicide prevention training, and an important mental health awareness opportunity for not only library staff, but the library trustees. Hi, come on in. The library trustees will also be participating in that training. So I'm thankful to Ryan Donovan for prioritizing that. I think they've seen a number of different needs to expand the skill set of staff to be able to respond to mental health needs. So I think that will be a valuable experience for them. And we're exploring some other programming opportunities that may or may not come to fruition. We're not sure. One of them involves the Northborough Health and Human Services office and the Worcester DA's office around healthy relationships. We're hoping to do that around Valentine's Day. We'll see. And also considering an anti-loneliness community building program for 2026, which is just around the corner. Before I move on to the next page of the director's report, are there any questions on any of that information?
What exactly was Shop with the Cop again?
Sure.
I was going to ask that too.
Sure. It's a fun program. So different donors In most cases, what I have heard is that, what are they called? Teachers unions from different communities have been donating funds to this program. It goes to a nonprofit police association nonprofit, and I believe it's out of Framingham. But the program started several years ago, and it started with one town and has sort of over time expanded to other communities. And so officers from the participating communities will work on fundraising for the program. They'll go to a local, in this case, this year, it's going to be a local Walmart on a specified day and time. And eligible families, and how people are determined eligible is going to be different from one community to the next. In the case of Southborough, any family that has been that's eligible for Winter Wishes is eligible to participate in this program. And so the officers, the fundraising goes towards the ability for them for kids from participating families to shop with an officer from their own community. In most cases, it doesn't always work out one-to-one like that, but they get to go around the store together, and there's $50 set aside for each child, and they get to shop with a cop from their community to pick out a toy, clothing, some other needed item that they want or need. And then at the end, they get to go up to the register together. And so it's a nice opportunity for the kids in these families to purchase something, but it's really a community building opportunity, even more so to build community, and especially between residents and law enforcement, which isn't always an opportunity that exists. So we were happy to support this program and help sort of facilitate a connection between the Southborough Police and eligible families. So we're still working on that. We're in a bit of a crunch period right now because we're only looped in sort of just recently. So we're trying to help the Southborough Police with connecting to families that are interested in participating.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you know how many officers from our department are involved?
I'm not sure how many officers. I'm not even sure how many have previously participated, and I'm sure it's complicated by the fact that they need staff in the department and on the roads at any given time. So I'm not sure how that works, but I know there were at least 2 officers that participated last year. Fortunately, the Southborough Police has been able to fundraise and received a donation from the teachers union in our community, enough to have 15 children participate. So that's great. Whether or not we have 15 children or families, it's not 15 families, but 15 kids. Whether or not we have that many, I'm not sure yet. But even if we didn't, it gives them a head start on next year, which is great.
Mhm.
And do they have to be children, or is the criteria, does the person have to be like a certain age or younger?
Yes, so I learned recently, I had a meeting with Chief Newell and the police chief. I want to say, I'm probably going to get this wrong, and I apologize to him. I think he was the police chief in Wayland. But we met to go over the details, and their parameters for the program are that they have to be a child in K through 8. They did say that if there was a child in grades K through 8 who had a sibling who was in 9th grade, or something like that, that they would not turn them away. But their focus is on younger age groups.
Thanks.
Yeah. I did have the same question because I was thinking that it would be beneficial for some of our older youth to have that opportunity to build
Yeah.
that kind of relationship also. But that's what it is right now. And so we're letting families know that have children that are of that age or in that grade to that they are eligible to participate if they want to.
Have you connected with like the food pantry on that or anything like that to see if they have any families that fall into that category?
They have referred most of the I think most Southborough families that have children to our Winter Wishes program. We actually confer with them on who's on our holiday giving list versus who's on theirs. So I'm pretty sure any food pantry clients that they would have, we already have a relationship with and would be included in this.
The reason I'm asking is because I was just talking with Pat Draper yesterday about it because she picked up the St. Anne donations for the food pantry, and she said that there have been some very recent changes about some families that were living in Southborough that moved to Marlborough, and some families that were living out of Southborough that just moved into Marlborough, that were just very recent. So that's why I was asking.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy to, it's a good thought. I'm happy to connect with them just to ensure that if, if there's anyone that we aren't aware of, although I think we probably are, but, if there's somebody that sort of fell through the cracks, so to speak, we could offer this opportunity to them too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. So let me, did somebody have a question?
I did have another question actually.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know if this falls under the Friends update, but I was just wondering how many families are being supported by the Winter Wishes program?
I should have had that statistic for you. Karen and I probably both have that information, but I should have had it pulled up and I don't.
I know that it's $15,250.
Yep.
And I shopped for a lot of gift cards. Let me look at Janet's email for the families, but
Right.
I mean, I can give you an update that we have raised over 17,000 for Winter Wishes, which is fabulous. So we've met the goal, and we can have a little bit, hopefully, go towards camperships or whatever. And I think Janet actually had emailed that we do have a couple other additional families that were just added. So at least we were able to meet all the families' needs this year.
Yes, so we did quick. Can anybody off the top of their head tell me how many letters are in the alphabet?
26.
I had to look it up. 26.
26.
So we had 26 families, and I asked that question because we identify them by letter. And so we were A through Z this year, but within each family, where the heck did that just go?
I think it's like 45 adults and 44 children.
Right.
Or 44 and 45. I forget. Yeah. One's under 18, one's over 18.
Right.
44 and 45. So,
yes, sounds right.
Yeah.
So
89 individuals from
20
families.
Yeah. Well, now 27, although we're waiting for all of that last family's information to come in. So, yeah. So that's about, I usually say on average about 30 families. So that's right on track with what we typically see.
So then your goal each year is to get $17,000 to meet the needs of about 30 families then?
Roughly, if you wanted to round up, the rule of thumb is that for anyone that's under the age of 18, our goal is to fundraise enough to give them $200 in gift cards a piece. And then for anybody over 18 from that family, namely the parents or any older children who might be living in the home, it's $150 per gift card. So
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I was just curious what the numbers were.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Of course, we'd love to do even more if we could, but you know, this is sort of our rule of thumb, and you know what we've had to sort of land on in the last few years, and I think the families find it extremely helpful.
For sure.
Okay, moving along, I've given some information about our current budget standing for FY26 and where things are at there. I just want to point out that for contracted services, it looks like we've expended everything for the year almost, with the exception of $3,000. But that's because that's a contracted, as the name insinuates of that line. It's a contracted service, which means that we have earmarked funds for a specific contract in advance. So the money cannot be spent for anything else. And the reason there's 3,000 left is because our original budget plan for interface referral service was for $18,000 as interface recommended, and it turned out that the contract came in at $15,000. So we have some funding there available, which is great. I've given you an update on our current donation account standing, and ARPA funds. I'm sure Carla McAuliffe, who's our town accountant, will be thrilled to say that our ARPA funds are at zero. We have spent down everything that the town has earmarked for projects that we were working on. So that's a big accomplishment, and I know she's happy about that because it's a lot of tracking of information, and it has to be all spent by a certain deadline. So also, I've given you an update on just within this fiscal year, our statistics for the 3 respective categories of services. Within each of these categories, there are, we can, you know, fine tune that to say, this is how many consultations we did, this is how many info sessions we did. But a while back, we decided that we weren't going to boil it down that narrowly. So those are the 3 major categories, duplicated versus unduplicated. That means that in some of those instances, we served one person twice, if that makes sense. So unique individuals are unduplicated, and duplicated means, I think I have that right. It's a little confusing to me, but the number of times we provided a service is the duplicated number. And then we are getting basically, if we go back to the very beginning of why we started this process of the community needs assessment, it was really to wind down on our strategic plan that was developed back in 2020, intended to be a 5-year plan starting in 2021. And so I have tried to offer, as best I can, some of these goals and strategies that are listed here are you know, things that are ongoing. There's no final completion for them. They're things that we continue to evaluate and do on an ongoing basis. But if it has a check mark next to it, and in actually most cases, we've addressed it in some form or another. The one thing on page 1 of this executive summary of the last strategic plan, the program and service evaluation is something we have worked on and we've developed, and our plan is in 2026 to start using that with regularity. So Emily continues to work on that and fine tune it. but all in all, I have continuously, this document is sort of a beacon for me. I continuously return to it to try to ensure that we're staying on track, and that we, have, tried to address what we could. Some of it has been out of our control, but I would say, that we've been largely successful, and I'm looking forward to the next iteration of this. We are kind of taking a pause. Originally, the data we collected from the community needs assessment was with the intention of using that data to inform the development of this next 5-year plan. But before we do that, it felt appropriate, or felt like good timing to see if we want to work on a broader scale with, town administration and our select board on, thinking more broadly. And so I would hate to invest all this time and, ask for assistance from a number of volunteers to help us develop this plan, only to then change it if the town did engage in an organizational assessment of sorts. So I'm pushing pause on that a little bit. This is a self-imposed, self-imposed from us, sort of track that we're on. I think it's very beneficial for us to have a strategic plan to guide our decisions. But I don't want to do a cart before the horse sort of scenario. So I'd like to see what happens, with our most recent conversation with the select board around next steps before we decide what we're going to do next. So hopefully that makes sense. I believe that's it for the director's report. And I don't know if anybody has any other additional questions.
I didn't have any questions. So would we like to move on and talk about the youth commission vacancy? It's obviously not an emergency, but I just thought we'd bring it up. I know we chatted at the last meeting a little bit at the end about maybe trying to find more diversity for our group, maybe somebody who represents younger parents with younger kids in the school system.
Maybe
Or
the
a
male
man,
sex.
which would probably not be the easiest to find, but
No offense to any men listening, but
yeah, if anyone's interested. But yeah, if you have ideas or you happen to know someone that you think would be a good fit, obviously we're open to any suggestions.
I'd like to add also that, whenever possible, I think it's extremely beneficial to the department to recruit somebody who works in the field of mental health or social services or prevention work. So a public health, professional, a mental health professional, a social worker. I think it's extremely helpful to have the lens of a resident, and or as somebody who may have utilized services like the services we offer and have that perspective. And, I think, it kind of reminds me of, if I think of the Municipal Technology Committee, you could be somebody who has expertise because you use technology, and you can be somebody who works in that field, and has a professional background in that area. So just putting that out there, that I think if anyone, I think that's how Laura came to us at when she did, because she had previously worked in the mental health field. I think we were talking about this, Nancy, also because not that we need to, it's a busy time of year for many reasons, but that maybe it's something that we can strategize now to work on in January. how we want to, can we do more to advertise this opportunity? How do we want to advertise the opportunity? I mean, we could do something as intensive as looking at the town census data and sending a letter to anyone who works in any of those respective fields, because we do have information on occupations. We could put something on my Southborough. So I thought it might just be helpful. And if there's anything that we can do in the department in preparation for January, we're happy to do that, because I think we have a flyer that was previously created to share that information. So
Yeah, I remember the flyer.
Sarah, I think you're saying something, but you're muted.
The dogs were barking and the birds were quacking. I was wondering if we have posted the flyer on the Facebook page, the Share and Care. That gets a lot of traffic, and I'm happy to do that if it hasn't, or we can just keep posting it over and over again. Um, but I think that's a good place. A lot of people go there for information, and we might be able to get somebody with human services background. Um, yeah, where else could we go? Eh, It's hard. Everybody,
Yeah.
I think we need to wait until after the holidays because everybody, including potential candidates, are probably pretty overwhelmed. And if we asked anybody now, they'd be like, "Yeah, no, I can't do that.
Mhm.
I gotta go home and wrap gifts or something." Um, yeah,
We could try to have a little, not open house, but like I know friends were talking about trying to get some new members in. So it maybe could be like a,
Mm.
I don't know if we're going to get anyone to attend, but to learn about what the Friends organization does, learn about Southborough Youth Commission Board and how we can support, and then, you know, kill two birds with one stone and possibly get some people.
Or three birds with one stone, because the department could come too, and
hmm
talk about what the work of the department,
Yeah,
what
totally.
the youth commission does, and how these three different entities sort of overlap and work together.
I like that. We could use the new space, which used to be our old space. I went and saw it where the Arts Council is now in the Historical Society. I think they're intending it for a community space.
Is it
So
done?
it's done.
Wow, how
It's
exciting!
you gotta go. It's really nice. I
Oh,
loved it.
nice.
And they featured like four different artists and it was just, it's lovely. They did a really nice job. It does not have the same old vibe the vintage vibe.
There's no river running through the basement.
Oh, they hit the river. Yes, they hit the river. They diverted it somehow into
Mm.
some other area.
Oh, Lauren has something to say about the river.
I think it went to our house.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh, no.
oh, that's nice. I like that.
Oh dear. It's
I
nicely
thought that
done.
they should have made a spa in the basement. I think that would have
Oh
been
no.
nice. But I think that we could use that space and just make it an open house. I know people are crazy busy. It's going to be hard to get
Yeah,
people there,
but we'll wait
but
till later
maybe,
in January and give people a couple of weeks to
Yeah, we
settle
could
down
do
after the holidays.
Yeah.
I can't
yeah.
remember if
coffee
that
and
facility is going to be a rental or not. We'd have to check.
Oh,
Oh, oh.
If
oh, I
not, we
didn't
could
think
do it
about
at the
that.
community house.
I do know that it is for rent, but it is like a different rate depending on the organization. So, like for example, if you are a town organization, it would be possibly a lower rate, or maybe even you could talk them into giving it to you for free, possibly. It is a beautiful space. The spaces
mm,
there are beautiful. So, I think that's a really good idea to have, an event there to talk about all three organizations. I think or not three, yeah, three different entities, the Friends
yeah.
of and the Youth Commission and the Youth and Family Services. It's a great idea. It's a beautiful space.
How do we get
Three.
people there though? We have to like have some kind of raffle or some kind of thing that gets people out of their pajamas at night, or maybe make it even like 4 or 5. I don't know. Maybe people run around
I
getting
was
candy.
thinking like coffee and donuts, like
Oh, that would be
you know,
nice. Like when kids are at school,
yeah, when kids are
maybe.
at school, or
Mm,
even I don't know how people feel about this, but you could do like a Saturday late morning or something
yeah.
like that. I'm happy to
Except
come.
if all the winter sports have started, that might be hard.
I know. No
That's
matter
true.
what we
That's
do,
tough.
it's no good time.
I'd
Oh
say
yeah.
we do it like on a Wednesday in the morning. I like that at like 10 o'clock and just see who we can get. Maybe we all work on getting 5 new people
Mhm,
that we know.
mhm.
Please come with me and check out the space, and I'm going to give you $1.
I was talking to
That'll
Gretchen
do.
Hartnett today, and she's one of the owners of Southborough Village Preschool. And I was thinking maybe I could ask her to like put up or like put up the sign or put in her newsletter or something about either both the youth commission vacancy or the need for support at Friends of, because that would hit like that younger demographic, all the parents of the kids who go to the preschool there because I'm friends with her and I could ask her.
Yeah,
I
she's
work
such a great proponent. She does
I
like
worked
her own
there
little.
for 20 years, so I can, I'm going in tomorrow to see Gretchen and Laura, and they have like a bulletin board that they always put our flyers on.
Yeah.
We just need to drop them off. They'll also put things in backpacks. So if we want to make copies of the flyers, that's usually how the parents, so you're hitting probably up to 40 different families from Southborough, young families, so it is a great idea. I know parents are pretty tapped out, but if you offer an opportunity for them to come, relax, maybe we get somebody to come in and do like mini chair massages or something, you know? But I think we need to have a hook. People are just not going to come and hang out. I mean, we're really nice, but I think we need to make it,
Speak for
like
yourself,
someplace
Tara.
there you're doing something like, I don't know, it's like when we do the crafting night, Sarah, I think it needs to be something that's restorative and
Mhm,
something that's going to be maybe fun to do together. And then we hook
mhm.
them in and say, sign on this line.
Yeah, or
And
It's a
like
they'll,
really nice,
maybe
it's
like
a
a
really nice
yoga
idea.
something, or I don't know. Yeah.
Crafts and wine
yeah,
Yeah.
crafts
and cheese
and
and
wine
crackers.
and
Something.
sign on the line.
And
Honest,
everyone gets $1, as Sarah mentioned.
Get a lottery ticket. Yeah.
a lottery
But I
ticket.
do like the idea of all three
Mhm.
groups combined
Yeah,
and
I think
then,
I think we can put something together that's fun and can
I think
draw
so.
people, and I don't know. I mean, maybe the arts people can bring in a little music kind of thing. I don't know. We could have a drawing, we could all paint. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I think it could be really a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, so that's one idea, and it sounds like a worthwhile idea.
Does the virtual backpack still exist at the elementary school, or is that not a thing anymore?
It is.
So
It is.
Yep,
It
it
is,
is.
but
And
it's like
Does
click
it
on a
reach anybody?
it's like click on a link and then you have to go. So I mean,
Yeah, I remember scrolling through it and it wasn't easy to see
it's not
everything.
so in your face. It's like here, click on this link for community stuff, and then the parents actually have to click there. So it's not like paper that was awesome when the kids came when they were little, and not that we want to kill all the trees with all the paper, but still
Right. Yeah.
people saw it. So
before we move on to other ideas, given this event that we were just talking about, is it beneficial for anybody in particular to spearhead that or look into next steps? I mean, and I wonder how we can help with that. I don't want to take it over, but I'm happy, we have the luxury of some time during the day to potentially look into some things. But just want to I think it would be a 2026 idea, but there might be some legwork to be done now that we could help with.
Sure.
Does anybody know anybody on the Art Council or the Historical Society or anybody who's in charge of
I
that
have a
new?
I have contact there because I had kind of reached out saying that I was interested in learning about it, and so I went in for like an early tour before they had that tour on Saturday. I went in a couple months ago and I got like an early preview and stuff like that. So I definitely have contacts there, so I could certainly reach out. I wouldn't want to say that I would want to be the person who's in charge of it. I have a lot going on right now, but I could definitely be the person to like reach out and ask about if we could do it and, you know, like how much it would cost and that type of stuff because I'd be comfortable doing that, but I wouldn't be comfortable organizing the whole thing.
Mhm. I think that sounds like a reasonable step to take within 2025. You can see I've got, we have a saying over here at the office that sounds like a 2026 problem. And so I think within what's left of this year, at least finding out if that space is an option and what it would cost us. And then in January, when we reconnect, we could um, talk about that. Do we want to collect information about any other possible place to host something? Because there's always actually I have a question as a follow-up to the space we're talking about. Have they made the space next to it into a parking lot?
Mhm.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
not beautiful, but you can park there. It's not
Okay, because
paved.
that was always an issue when we used to have our office there was that there was very limited
I
parking
I think
and
I think I remember. I mean, I parked on the street, but
mhm,
there was
mhm,
quite a few people at the open house.
mhm.
Melissa, maybe if you talk to your contact, ask them if they would be interested in co-sponsoring an open house. I know they're looking to, recruit friends or members or whatever, as well as the Historical Society. I think we could do something really cool and therapeutic and relaxing all together. We can combine all our expertise. So
We
just
can we can
fish
also reach
around.
out to, I was just going to suggest we might want to reach out to Kelly from Theracopia. She's so very generous and gives a lot of donations, and maybe she would be interested in doing something.
Do you know her?
Yeah,
Maybe you could, would you mind reaching out to her
yeah, sure.
about
Because
that?
she was Heritage Day, she was going to do all the chair massages and donate all the time and money to the tricentennial for the Southborough 300, and then Heritage Day got canceled. So I don't know. It might be a way to bring people in to look at her place and also have some therapeutic massage or something going on.
So you're
And
saying to go to her place instead
go
of
to
going
her
here?
place instead
Yeah.
of the Arts Council, and it would be also helpful, beneficial to her because we'd be bringing people to see what her studio or whatever it is all about. But we could
Mhm.
have a fun, nice evening. I don't even know
Mhm.
how much she would charge, but it's bringing people into her new business too, because I always like to support businesses in
Yes.
Southborough.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So how many people would we be looking at? Like, so if I were to reach out, you know, to the organization, like there are three levels. There's like a basement level where they have like classrooms and you know like parties and for children and stuff. There's a middle floor which has like a library and a map room, and then they have a third floor that's like kind of almost like a ballroom almost like for like dancing and like a banquet and stuff like that. Like which space would we want to use? You know, like there are three different levels. What would I want to ask for?
I'd probably try to do that middle level.
Middle,
I mean, the
yeah.
ground floor.
Yeah.
But if we were going to do like a craft or some kind of creative activity, we could always set up tables in the basement area.
The middle
Um,
floor is beautiful though. I mean, that's
yeah, I
really
think
like
it's
yeah.
the art, and if this has art, I'm just hoping that we could combine all our professional ideas together and come up with something that would, bring the community together, bring the groups together. I just think it would be very cathartic for all of us too. So,
Yeah, and we could even like break it also into two events too, like we could have like the one where we all come together, possible maybe at, that new Arts History Center or whatever it's called. And then maybe we could have something that's just for Youth and Family Services, Friends of, and the Youth Commission at the Theracopia. I don't
yeah,
know if that's too much.
I like
Um,
that. I mean, we could promote our organization individually there and offer some mindfulness kind of things, practice at Theracopia. I like that.
Sarah could give her mindfulness talk.
I
Ex-
could.
Perfect.
yes.
Oh, look, aren't
Actually a
we
good fit.
smart?
Yeah, that sounds nice.
After the holidays when we're all like, oh.
Yeah. No
So just
kidding.
just tying this back to the agenda, we were looking at the vacancy and trying to figure out how we could recruit and promote the work that we're doing as Friends needs more hands on deck and we have this vacancy. And since both organizations support the department, it's valuable to share in that same context what the department does. It sounds like we've at least talked about two options to explore, one being Theracopia's space and the other being the new, whatever that building is called, the old Fayetteville Village Hall, right? That's what it
Right.
was previously. And Melissa, you were willing to look into whether that was an option for that building, and Karen, you were willing to look into Theracopia. Is there anything else that we need to explore that we can report back on when we're together in January? I feel like one of those two options should hopefully work.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. And then I wrote down a few notes for us. We have the vacancy flyer for the Youth Commission, and we also have the Friends recruitment flyer. I'm happy to talk with Janet about sharing both of those until we hear otherwise. So I'll ask her to share them with some regularity, and that includes the schools, it includes my Southborough, it includes our own social media pages, it also includes Sharing Care, as we are able to share things there. So we can make a concerted effort to do more of that and to keep sharing it regularly until, we've told her to stop.
Do we want to drop one at SVP tomorrow, whenever you go in, just to put on the bulletin board, even if we don't put them in the backpacks?
Yeah, I did write a note to myself to send it to you guys. If you are out and about and have any places that you happen to already be and have the capacity to print it out and want to put it on bulletin boards, that's super helpful. Alternatively, we can print out some copies here and get them to you guys. I'm sure Janet can reach out and connect with you all, but if it's easy enough to just share it over email and you guys are able to print it, that's great. But anybody who doesn't, like, my printer is completely broken right now, so I wouldn't have the capacity to print at home, but we're happy to get copies to people if they have ideas of a place to post it.
I can put one on the preschool bulletin board tomorrow. Since I have to go there anyway.
Okay. What time are you planning to be there, Sarah?
Probably after lunch.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right. That sounds like a very good starting point.
Yep, it's a good starting point. Next on the agenda, we have I hope I pronounced this right, Ellen Piontek Scholarship Award.
You did.
I don't know what the date is or what the application process is for that. So Sarah, I'm gonna let you
Sure,
pick up.
I'll speak to that. So if you're not aware, Ellen Piontek is a former director of the department before Laurie Sugarman Whittier. She is alive and well and has a private practice in, it's either Holliston or Hopkinton. I hear from her like once a year. She's wonderful. Ellen was really big on community service and probably still is, and not just the impact it has on the community, but also the inherent value it has for the person doing the work. And would often talk about that in her work with individuals, trying to get them engaged in some sort of volunteerism, and develop a sense of purpose and meaning. And so the Ellen Piontek Scholarship was developed by the Youth Commission at the time of her leaving the department, however many years ago that was. Laurie was the director for about 30. Oh, I shouldn't say that because Laurie was with the town for more than 30 years, but she may not have. I think she and Ellen were co-directors at some point. Anyway, that part doesn't matter. But when Ellen left, the Youth Commission at the time established the Ellen Piontek Scholarship, which was to be for a Southborough senior who demonstrated exemplary achievement or meaning or work in the area of community service. And so ever since then, every year, now it's an interesting overlap. So Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission funds this scholarship, and the last several years have put forward $1,000 to go to one individual. There's been years in the past where we've done two recipients for $500, and the amount has changed. But so this upcoming year, it's $1,000 for one Southborough recipient. Also, over time, we've changed it so that it's not just for somebody who has plans to go to college, but has plans to enter into some sort of training program, is also something that they need those funds for to pursue their next chapter. And so it's not required that it go towards college or anything like that. So I'm bringing it to the Youth Commission because Friends has agreed to fund the scholarship again this year. And where you guys come in is that every year for youth to apply for the program, they fill out their application, but they also write an essay. And so Friends has asked that the Youth Commission review the essays and choose a recipient. We make it as blind a process as we can. We don't, we black out any identifying information so that it's based solely on the content of their application and their essay. So I just wanted to bring it to the board to, before I get back to Algonquin, on if we're in for this year or not, to see if the Youth Commission is willing to be part of that process again.
I vote yes.
Me
Yeah,
too.
so do I. I mean, I think it's a great thing. And I think it's really wonderful that they opened it up to kids who are also, not necessarily going to college, but pursuing any other career path that they need funding for. So yeah, I would love to do it.
I honestly love reading the essays. They were so well written last year. I mean, they were amazing.
Yeah, I love it. It's a wonderful idea.
Great. Any major objections? Anyone really anti-essay reading or?
No.
Okay, I'll make sure that I move forward with letting Algonquin know that we're in, that we established what our process will be. So Senior Awards Night is typically in May, if I remember correctly, which means the timing on this is, I think, isn't it our April meeting that we're usually in person? And at that meeting that we choose a recipient for the scholarship, but also for the Laurie Sugarman Whittier Wellness Award, which is in honor of another director. So We will make sure for the April meeting packet that you guys will have copies of those essays, and we will do our darnest to make sure that you have plenty of advance notice to read them prior to coming to the meeting, because that helps tremendously in making decisions. So that's it.
Do you remember generally how many applicants there were last year?
I think in years where we've had a quote unquote a lot of applicants, it's usually been like 8.
10, yeah, 8 to 10
Oh, okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
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 But the essays they're not multi-page, I think it's is it 1,000 words? 2,000 words? It's not,
They're pretty limited. I would
yeah,
Yeah.
say a
it's like
couple paragraphs.
a page and a half, something like that. So,
Similar to say like a college application essay.
yeah.
I missed it last year, so I'm excited to read them this year.
It is nice.
If anyone has any other questions or comments about the scholarship award? If not, we can move on to Encompass. We were contacted by Emily Tylek from Encompass. She would like to give a presentation to our group. Karen and I talked a little bit about it, and based on her schedule, we suggested that we could move one meeting up by an hour to 6 o'clock so that she could present to our group during one of our meetings. Sarah, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to her about whether or not she was comfortable with virtual or if she'd rather be in person.
I believe I neglected to do that. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
But I do talk to her at least a couple times a week. I'm happy to
Yeah,
follow
and
up with her for
that's
real
something
this
I
time.
can email her about too.
Sure. Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I was curious about, I do think she said December was tough, which obviously we can't do December anyway. If you're all comfortable with next month, I could contact her about January, or we could push it out a couple months. I think she's pretty flexible.
I think January or February would be good. They're kind of
Okay.
more quiet months, and then you get into all
Yeah.
the
Mental Health Awareness Month and all that
Yes.
stuff coming up in May. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I'll
When are
suggest
the next two meetings?
January,
When is
February.
the January and February meeting? I don't think I have them on my calendar.
It's always the second Tuesday,
The
right?
second Tuesday. Yeah. I don't
Second
know what the
Tuesday
exact
always.
date is.
Unless
Okay.
we have to move it for some reason, but yeah, so it'll be January
13th.
13th and then February 10th.
Okay.
Which I will not be available on the 10th. So I had this preemptive, but just since we're on the topic, I'm going to ask Janet to reach out. I don't know if people know this about me, but I'm a quarter Costa Rican.
Mhm.
And my family is having a family reunion in Costa Rica, and so I will be traveling at that time.
Yay.
Well, we can have the meeting in Costa
In
Rica.
Costa
with
Rica.
you.
Yes, come with me. It'll be great.
You like a big fiesta, right?
That sounds really fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
Well, that's
Janet
going to be
will
hard
reach out
because
to us.
and then the following week is vacation, right? President's Week.
So the hope would be that we could keep it probably the same week, but maybe a different
gotcha.
day. So so I'll ask Janet to reach out
Okay.
about that sooner than
But
later.
January 13th.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So in general, it's the second Tuesday, except in this case.
And is there anyone who would struggle with moving the meeting up by an hour who couldn't make a 6 o'clock? Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the date, kind of,
Okay.
I have some travel possibly coming up as well too. I just don't have
Yeah.
everything buttoned up, so, but I could move it, yes, as long as I'm here, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And there's definitely going to be advance notice, and we'll make sure it works for everybody before picking a date. And I'll contact Emily and let you know what she says, Sarah.
Nancy, I just
Thank-
want to mention, we did not talk about the FY27 budget, which was on the agenda. That was something that got added after the fact.
Okay.
If you remember, I had reached out to you and Karen to say, are you okay with, because I appreciated after the fact that we were going to have to submit our FY27 budget request to town administration and in the finance team. So it is in the meeting packet, what the draft of what I'm hoping to submit to them, but I wanted the youth commission to have the opportunity to take a look at it and sort of explain. Let me pull up the packet here. So you have a spreadsheet page that shows, so essentially the directive we were given for this budget cycle was that we should look at our actual expenditures for FY25 and essentially carry those figures over into FY27 as best we could. The town is facing some fiscal constraints, and so each budget cycle there's usually a directive like that of some kind, and so the numbers don't match exactly because in some areas we went up, but in other line items we went down, and so our net well, first of all, salaries are what they are. There's longevity pay for 2 employees. The part-time wages. Can everybody see the stuff that's in the packet if I'm referring to it? I'm also happy to share my screen if that's easier. Are you guys able to see it?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, great. So the salaries are, we've been given a directive from the personnel board to submit a 5% increase that accounts for merit pay increases for job performance evaluations and a cost of living adjustment. So those figures, the figures for FY27 include that. The part-time wages are for our internship that that is a paid internship opportunity. Longevity is there for 2 employees, and then the total. Moving down to this different line items, it's about a 1,000 increase for software. That is because Propio, which is the language translation and interpretation service that we depend on, has a new option, which we're very excited about. Up to this point, in order for us to have language support when talking to residents on the phone, we have had to initiate a phone call to Propio first. We choose the interpreter that we, for the language that we need, and then we do a 3-way call to the resident, which means up to this point that residents have had to wait for us to contact them, and we've had to hope that they're available to talk. Propia has a new feature now where residents can initiate a phone call to the town with interpretation support, which is a huge, very beneficial change, and something that we would anticipate there being increased use and therefore increase costs. So we did not want to limit our capacity. this line item is not just for Propio, but the increase is solely accounted for because of that feature that Propio is offering. Software also includes our yearly subscription to Simple Practice, which is our electronic health record system, and our yearly subscription for My Senior Center, which is a HIPAA compliant database registration and advertising platform that we use. So that is the difference there. Employee training is the same as last year. So if I were to go back to the actual expenses for FY 2025, it would be more, but we don't need $1,800. We did that year because of a training opportunity that was timely. I can't remember what it was exactly, but $1,500 is $500 for my position, the assistant director's position, and our program coordinator to engage in professional development opportunities and trainings. Again, for printing, I went with what our budget was for FY 26, the year we're currently in, versus the actual expenses. The actual expenses were because we had a surplus of funds in a different line, and we really wanted for the community needs assessment to send out those postcards home to everyone in the mail to encourage participation in the survey. That's not something we're going to do with regularity, so I didn't think we needed to ask for that amount again. I'm trying to sort of, I wanted to increase the amount for software, but in turn show that I'm decreasing the amount elsewhere. Contracted services, again, interface referral service, the last 3 years or 2 years, the contract has been significantly under what we had budgeted for. So this year I wanted to budget $15,000, and I've already preemptively let Interface know that that was my plan. And we're also asking for the same amount to work with Rona Cairns, who is the woman that provides me with supervision for my clinical work, and she provides consultation services for the whole department on a bi-weekly basis and on an as-needed basis when critical needs come up. And sorry, I lost my screen here. The supplies is the same as it has been. That's been pretty consistent. Program supplies, we have been trying to do more over at Colonial Gardens and get creative with our programming. So I was asking for the same amount that we have in our budget for this year. And then mileage, there's not really a lot of wiggle room here because we are required to pay mileage reimbursement to all of our employees. So, and now that we have a paid internship, mileage reimbursement, the intern is also eligible for mileage reimbursement. So we did need to include an increase for that. So overall, though, these different line items are yield a 4.6% decrease overall as compared to last year. So while some of the line items are at an increase, overall the net is that it's at a decrease. So I don't know if the memo that's included here really just kind of outlines each of those things that I just mentioned to you, with an explanation for what's included in each of those. So I have to submit this budget request by Monday of next week at noontime. And so I wanted to give the Youth Commission an opportunity to give feedback on it or suggestions in case you thought something should be changed.
Are you all set, like in terms of your physical office space, in terms of furniture, whatever you might need there?
Um, so I don't have a clear picture yet on what our needs are for furniture, and therefore it's a bit hard to plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
Our facilities director has told me that we are not going to be able to bring over everything that we currently have for furniture,
Okay.
which naturally makes sense because it's a different space and, you know, what works here might not work over there. So we're certainly going to try our best to use as much as we have. We don't have money earmarked in our budget for furniture, and that's because typically once something is in your budget, it's for something that's reoccurring.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be one of those, you know, we're not going to need to buy new furniture year after year. So we would likely consider a few options, one being using funds from our donation account, which currently has around $5,000 in it. We might also appeal to the Southborough Community Fund to see if they would be willing to contribute at all, because I know in the past there has been an appetite for sort of one-off kind of expenses that help benefit a service in some way. That might not be something that the community fund is interested in supporting it, but it may be. And we might ask friends if there's any opportunity to chip in towards, you know, my hope is again that we wouldn't need to do too much, that we would be able to use most of what we have, but it's really hard to tell right now. So
Any tech needs or anything like that? New, I guess that's kind of falls into the same class as something you wouldn't put in a reoccurring budget, but
would that be, I think I heard you correctly,
yeah,
techniques? Is that what you
tech,
said?
yeah, like
Oh,
computers, iPads.
tech
Yeah,
needs. I thought you
yeah.
said techniques.
Techniques,
I was like,
yes.
I'm not sure. Tech needs. No, we are pretty covered, and actually our IT department is very responsive to that and has some money budgeted for things like that, but for the most part we're well covered. We actually have things here that I'd love to figure out how to better use. Like we have a couple of iPads that we were able to purchase through some that might have been ARPA funding that we bought
Hmm.
that with. But yeah. We are a very person-centered department. So unlike DPW, for example, there's not a lot of equipment that we need. You know, we just need a room and staff to do most of the work. You know, so our budget is fairly modest for that reason. And
But games, fidget toys. I know that my daughter Zoe is always going out and buying a lot of stuff on her own dime to
mhm,
entertain the children,
yeah,
art supplies. I don't know.
yeah, we do have a lot of that already.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, we weed through it on an annual basis. That's usually a summertime. When I say that's a 2026 problem, that's a summertime project when we kind of clean out our supplies and throw away markers that no longer work, or a
Hmm.
checkerboard that has only three pieces left, or, you know,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, we're pretty covered there too.
Did anyone else have a comment on the FY27 budget?
So I'm just looking for a youth commission vote of support or vote of
Uh,
not support. What's the opposite of that? A vote of,
Dissension.
thank you. Just to be able to say, you know, that
Is
you
it
had
a,
the opportunity to review it and that you were in support of the draft that's moving forward.
is it a casual vote or an official vote?
I would say an official vote.
An
Yeah.
official vote.
Yeah.
I vote to support the FY27 budget as outlined. I move to support it.
I support it as well.
Yes.
I support it too.
Aye.
Okay, yeah. We didn't really roll call it, but shall we do it just to make it official? Can anyone second?
I second.
Okay, roll call vote. Lauren Ritchie,
Aye.
Melissa Shields,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Sarah Mikas,
Aye.
Karen England,
Aye.
Nancy Sutton. Aye,
Wonderful. Thank you.
welcome. Karen, do you have a Friends update?
Just on the winter wishes, it went really well. Sarah said it went smoothly. We were able to raise over 17,000, so it seems like we're pretty much wrapped up with the exception of this one last family. I'm looking forward to having an event in January just to maybe get some new members on Friends, and we need to think about for the next drive will be for our big push for camp scholarships, so we'll need a lot more fundraising, and so we're kind of running into things, the same old events and, like fundraisers, and we're trying to think of something new to do, but we know that there's always challenge to get people to show up to things. So maybe in 2026, we will come up with have some new members and some new ideas, but everything went well for Winter Wishes.
I wish I could quickly pull up the figures for camp, what was spent last year. Camp is significantly more expensive than Winter Wishes, unfortunately. I want to say it was around almost twice as much, maybe $30,000.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the reasons that recruitment is so important for Friends is because fundraising is so important to sustain these programs. We did make the change last year that it's a tiered approach for camp scholarships, that no longer will we be able to offer 100% coverage for camp, that families, the maximum benefit is 90% discount, which is still really good, but every little bit helps, and really also helps us with attendance at camp, because I think that's been a bit of a challenge when your child's camp is 100% covered. It's much easier to not send them because it hasn't caused you any pain in your pocket, so to speak.
Sarah, were those numbers with the new, rec department helping out as well? And not having...
Yeah, probably. That's probably right. The total that was amount spent. So you're right. Thank you for bringing that up too.
Yeah, so I think we were on the hook for like 20 maybe or something. So Friends doesn't have to do 100% of the fundraising this year. We've kind of joined forces with rec, and so they are giving some of it. So I think Friends is more close to 20,000, I think. But
thank you for that reminder. That was also a change this past year, was that Friends of the Southborough Youth Commission was doing the majority of the fundraising for camp scholarships, and so there's been a much stronger partnership with Friends of Recreation to sort of share that fundraising effort. But it's a bit of an arduous task to figure out how to fundraise that much year after year, and still have enough funds available for a subsequent year to sort of build off of, because we can't deplete everything. So if anybody has thoughts, again, we're all interconnected. It's why, even if you're on the youth commission board, why it's beneficial to send people in the direction of Friends, because without Friends, we don't have the ability to offer a camp scholarship program. So again, something that we will likely revisit in 2026. But
I did have Kathy Cook come and pick up the physical check donations today from St. Anne that were not Venmo. So they are in her hands today. There were just a couple of them. One was made out to the wrong group but she said that the bank is very understanding.
Great.
Thank you, Melissa.
And we sometimes get trickling in throughout till the end of the year. So, and then that can go towards camper next year. So it's nice if we still have some. So anyone listening, you can still donate.
That's right. That's right.
Just a plug.
Yeah.
That's all I have, Nancy.
Okay. Thanks, Karen. We're at the end of our meeting agenda, but
I move to adjourn.
Second that.
Sam Stivers just raised his hand.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna
Chief
see if I can pull him in for a second.
Good evening, folks. Sorry to delay your adjournment, but I have a quick suggestion for your recruitment process. One of the
Okay.
things that I've done historically is using the town census for that versus sort of a blanket search for people, much more targeted view. So I actually have a relatively recent copy of that census in an Excel spreadsheet where people list their occupation. And I do recall that there are a number of people who have social services, social worker, for example, as occupations there. And I'm sure there are probably other occupations that would have backgrounds that would be, I think, helpful as board members. And that's sometimes a useful place to start. Clearly, you want to start with that and then do some vetting through LinkedIn and other research sources to find out, rule out the people who are convicted felons and those kind of things. But
Is that listed on the census?
that's right. You have to dig a little deeper for that
it would
information.
be, it adds some spice to the group.
We could.
Exactly. But at least it's a good place to start. We actually found people for the technology committee, and I'm now looking for somebody for the Board of Commissioners of Trust Funds. And so, again, it's an interesting place to start, and it's more targeted. So you're not, broadcasting and hoping for responses to come in over the transom. So anyway,
Great
it's one way
idea.
to look at it. I'll be happy to send that spreadsheet to Sarah, and you can take a look at, see what you think, and go from there. So just a
Thanks.
suggestion.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
No problem.
Good suggestion.
Okay. That was very helpful. Now I'm going to move to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. Lauren Ritchie,
aye.
Melissa Shields,
Aye.
Susan Byer,
Aye.
Sarah Micus,
Aye.
Karen Englam,
Aye.
Nancy Sutton, aye.
Bye, everybody. Nice to see you.
Happy
Have a
holidays.
Have a
Oh,
wonderful
happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
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 See you in January.
Okay.